Hi everyone, this is a collective tarot reading for the full moon in Capricorn, which will take place on July 3rd, and it is for my freedom, love, and woo homies out there. I'm gonna do a 7-card horseshoe spread, and as always, there are 3 oracle cards that you can choose which one or which ones resonate with you while I do the reading. Of course, being Cancer season, I have 3, moon-themed oracle decks. All right. I'm going to cut the deck and we shall see what we have. So, in the past, this is the King of Wands reversed. The present is the Sun. Oh, that's nice. The known factors about the present is the Queen of Wands reversed. Okay, the King and Queens have both shown up, both reversed. That's very interesting. So us collectively are the Empress. That's encouraging. Unknown factors, we have the Tower. Okay, if this is what we don't know, holy shit. Advice, we have the Chariot. Okay, great. And potential outcomes, we have Lovers. Awesome. With the Knight of Cups reversed at the bottom of the deck. So I'm going to start this for a bunch. I'm going to fix the framing here. I don't want to do this while recording. I'll see you right now with your reading. All right, before moving on, I want to pull some clarifiers because the 2 cards that are confusing me right now are the King and Queen of Wands, both reversed. So I'm going to pull a clarifying card for each. Clarifying the King of Wands reversed, we have the 7 of Wands reversed, okay? And clarifying the Queen of Wands reversed, we have the 5 of Wands. A lot of wands clarifying wands, okay. So, this should be well framed for you anyway. So, I will take a look. Let's see. So, as a whole, if I were to summarize this whole message in one word, it would be humility. There's a very strong sense of humility that's coming through in this reading. And one of caution, but optimistic as well because of these 2 cards here. I must say it was pretty clear what the King of Wands reverse was saying. I'm basically, the way that I usually read it, the 7 of Wands reverse confirmed that that's pretty much it. It was the Queen of Wands here that the 5 of Wands was really helpful in clarifying to me, and I think it's related to this Tower card represented in the unknown factors position. So, as a whole, the King of Wands reversed in the past is more the stubbornness and defensiveness that, we've all been feeling and kind of guilty of doing in the past. I guess this puts it further back in the past than I would anticipate given the scope of this reading. However, it is the Sun in the present energy I represent as healing and celebration, moving on from this to really leave that in the past and make a clean break. Now, the reason the Queen of Wands is reversed here, I think, is because despite the amazing potential that we're sitting on collectively, despite the wonderful thing that we have growing in our collective belly, there are some X factors and reality checks that that are needed and necessary. That's one of the cool things about the Tower, despite it very rarely being appreciated in the moment. The Tower card is the kind of thing that you kind of look back at it and laugh, but and it's funny too, because I saw a reading on this today reminding me that the myth that the Tower represents is the Tower of Babel, which represents people growing too big for their britches and basically being smacked down by God, who after which screwed up our languages and shit like that. I don't want to get too lost in the Tower of Babel, which I personally consider horrible, but the main theme of the card itself is one of being reconnected to reality. And sometimes when we sometimes when we're overly optimistic to the point where it stumbles over into delusion, that's when those reality checks, as uncomfortable as they are necessary and good in the long run. So basically, the fact that now with the party and celebration represented by the Sun card here, it could also be a quite literal reference to the summer, to the sign of Leo. You know, for the majority of us who live north of the equator, it's summertime, and that might be it, but it would be far too, I would not be satisfied at all reading it literally. And I think that moving on from the the stubbornness and arrogance that we might have, you know, stepping into our shadow and asserting our boundaries and asserting our will in a way that may not necessarily have been as productive as you know, as is ideal, that, you know, that is cause for celebration. However, knowing that the job isn't done, and when is it ever really, can really stretch the creative, passionate, bold energy of the Queen of Wands to its limits, and that's probably why she's reversed. And as a reminder, I haven't said this in a while. When I do these collective readings, the court cards, the most helpful way that I can read the court cards, I think, is to read them as the abstract energy that is represented by the card, instead of trying to map it onto a particular person, because it's a collective reading, you know. So you know, a strong-willed man and a strong-willed, creative, compassionate woman in your network, that's not really helpful. Anyway, yeah, so I think that the good news throughout this is that we are sitting on something great, represented by the Empress card here. But there is a reminder that just because we are proverbially pregnant with something, you know, that there's still a gestation period that is required before we actually give birth to the wonderful thing that we have growing inside of us. And given the tower that is lurking in the shadows, coming to fact check us, for lack of a better phrase, or to check us for you know, feasibility, for reliability, for realism and all that stuff, that's a good thing. Now, the Chariot as an advice card is very, very interesting. First of all, if we're going to do the astrological comparisons, it's very interesting that we have Cancer and Leo represented here, but forget that. The way that I'm reading the Chariot as an advice card, the theme that, especially leading into the Lovers card as a potential outcome here, it is to basically continue to mend the relationships that we've been mending, because the notion that I allude to often, well, sometimes with the Chariot, is the notion of making opposites work together. You know, the black horse and the white horse, they are not necessarily good. No, let me rephrase that. They don't necessarily work together usually. And through the will of the Chariot rider, that is when they can make the horses work together for a common goal and move in the same direction. So really, and especially again, leading into the Lovers card, that kind of stands on its own, really. I think there's a potential for resolution, reconciliation, and celebration, basically, to really tap into the festive, creative, joyful energy represented by the Sun card here. Do I have anything to add? Let me just make sure. Obviously, the Lovers, I'm not reading it as a romantic relationship. I'm reading this really as the energy of love. And again, especially combined with the Sun card, especially the fact that though they mean different things, and that's not really the point of the positions in the reading, we do have the King and Queen of Wands, the, you know, divine counterparts, both present in this reading, both upside down, but leading to the Lovers reverse. You know, it's very optimistic in that regard. Just remember that no matter what reality checks, no matter what things that you thought were necessary get taken away from you, no matter what illusions get shattered on our way to the Lover's card here, that first of all, it doesn't change the awesomeness of the potential that we're sitting on. Second of all, we are champions. And as long as we continue to find ways to make the different disparate parts of this whole that we're trying to build to get to where we want to go, as long as we continue focusing on making the chaos work in our favor, despite how difficult it is, and despite how despite how not obvious and sometimes downright unrealistic and impossible it looks at times, that the why represented in the Lover's card, the goal that we're after, will be worth the wait if we tap into the potential of the Chariot to move forward as champions. And I just want to allude to this because it is on screen right now. The Knight of Cups reversed at the bottom of the deck. Honestly, I don't think it really matters that much. I think whatever the Knight of Cups has to say in this reading pales in comparison to the reading in itself, and it kind of fits into the overall energy that is represented by the Knight of Cups, which is why I literally didn't say anything at all before now, and will continue not to. So that concludes the tarot part of the reading. And before I move on to the Oracle, I want to mention, if you like what I do and you want to support me, or if you would like me to take a horseshoe spread like this and look at a situation of yours, you can find information on my Patreon below. So now moving on to the Oracle card portion. If you chose the Moonology card, your card is... A win-win outcome is forecast. The full moon in Libra. Are you kidding me? This is, you can't make this stuff up. Listen, this is a, you know, speaking of win-wins, something, an advice for the charioteer here would be something that can make these horses work together is to incite them to figure out how they can both win, how getting to the goal helps them both, and that is something that would be useful for you to consider. So try to look for the wins and try to look for ways for everyone to win so that we can get to the love that is potentially in front of us. If you chose the Moonology Manifestations card, your card is New Moon in Cancer, relax. Well, this is interesting. As always, this card is so perfect that it's difficult for me to add anything, but I will. It's actually pretty easy given this reading. Sometimes when... basically, remember to stay centered no matter what the universe might throw at you for the next couple weeks, no matter how anxious the chaos might make you. And just remember that no matter how much doubt creeps in, as long as you don't tap into the toxic, stubborn energy that you may have manifested in the past, that you're still moving forward even though it doesn't look like it. Because the wait is necessary. As long as you breathe and relax and stay centered, that's how you can stay on the horse. If you chose the Moon Oracle, your card is Impulse. This is a waxing crescent fire moon. Interesting. Give me a second. There are many ways to read this card, so I'm kind of going to shotgun it. One of the ways is quite literal. I don't usually read these cards this way, but it did come to mind, and it might be helpful for some of you. So this is either a warning to not be too impulsive when disappointment strikes, to not fall back into the King of Wands reversed energy. So it could really be that, like kind of a different way of saying relax, to not be impulsive. It could also It could also be an invitation for you to strike when the opportunity is there, and to really take decisive action and not let your fears of getting checked by reality stop you from moving the chariot forward towards the potential love that awaits you, you know. Now, the literal way to read this, which came to mind, because this is a waxing crescent fire moon. After the new moon in Cancer in a couple weeks, the moon, the couple days following the new moon in Cancer, the moon will be in Leo, and it will be a waxing crescent moon in a fire sign. So for some of you, I anticipate few of you, but still, for some of you, you might want to keep your eyes peeled and your ears open for opportunity during those couple days in particular. Again, I don't usually read these cards this way, but this is one way to read them, and it came up. So that is what I have for you. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please like this video. It really does help me out a lot. And we have, you know, a lot of summer ahead of us. Let's enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. You take care. I'll see you soon.